Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me? This is another episode of Supportive Advice Live. I am your host, Aquila Wheatley, a licensed marriage and family therapist. I have a couple of listeners here, Andrew and Michael. I am waiting. Hey, Mo. One of my panelists has just joined. I am waiting on Mr. Machismo, but I will add her as a speaker for now. So, Mo, I don't think that you were privy to last week's topic unless you had time to, I don't know, go back and listen to it, last week's episode. But I will go ahead and bring forward this week's topic. So, this week's topic is my girlfriend's porn history is disturbing and concerning. And so, we're going to kind of dive into this today. My girlfriend's porn history is disturbing and concerning.
Why is that, sir? Why is it disturbing?
Well, we are about to find
And this is
out.
and
And
this is girlfriend.
yes, his girlfriend. And so I decided to take this topic on as a marriage and family therapist because you actually do run into these types of things. Just because you're attracted to someone doesn't mean that you are all into the same thing sexually. And sometimes that can cause a conflict. Sometimes we can become kind of judgy of our significant others or whatever the case may be. Now, I haven't read this ahead of time, so I'm going to throw that out there. I don't know what what the porn history is, but I do know that I deal with a lot of couples that are not always on the same page, as far as their sexual needs and desires. And this is how it can sometimes come across. So um, I am going to begin reading, and we'll see what comes of it. So it says, we have been dating for 14 years, and I've discovered her porn history. We share the iPad, and I hardly use the iPad, but I started using it more lately because my Mac Pro, okay, this is a lot of details. My MacBook no longer works anymore. Anyway, when I was using our iPad, I noticed the incredibly long browser history of porn. So already sounds like he's a little disturbed, or they're a little disturbed by the amount of porn. She does not have a porn addiction. Well, thanks for clearing that up. She isn't watching porn every single day. It seems to be a few times a month when I'm at work. There you go. We both have very different schedules. Okay, so we have that. Despite the different work schedules, we still have a relatively healthy sex life, and she just consumes porn when I'm not around. So the porn is only under the Safari browser. She uses the Google Chrome browser for separate things. Okay, I don't care. I just want to skip to what I found on her porn searches. All legal porn. This is on the most well-known. This is on the most well-known porn websites. Okay, so we have. All right, you guys ready? I'm going to take that as a yes. Because I didn't see anybody say no. All right,
Yes.
so we have crying porn. I don't know if anyone has ever heard of crying porn.
Mm-mm.
I personally, never have heard of crying porn. So we're just gonna keep up with that. And next we have emotional abuse. Is he sure that's porn, or does she just feel emotionally abused? Well, I guess we'll get more into that.
Mhm.
Chloroform, chloroform porn. Okay.
What?
Cream pie in her while she's asleep. porn. Violence, physical violence towards the woman, like slapping and hitting, which, in all honesty, is not uncommon. Um, Barely legal kink. This is the famous Asian porn star that is known for looking really young. Okay. She is watching a lot of porn where the female looks very young, where she literally looks like a child, wearing pigtails, dressed like a toddler, and saying daddy. Okay. She's looking up forced sex, abduction, where a woman gets kidnapped and gang banged, degrading her. There was this video she watched where a girl had an apple in her mouth while the guy, has intercourse with her, um, and other things. Okay. I haven't talked to her about this because I just don't know where to start. I mean, well, let's start with where you have the problem. I think that's a great place to start. Or even analyzing why you have a problem with it. Like, because it seems like it's more or less what this person thinks that this might insinuate. Um, I
Mhm.
feel like I should just forget I saw it, which is a thing, right? But I can't stop thinking about this. A part of me says it's not something to mention. Another part is saying she might have some deeper underlying issues. But I haven't really noticed anything off about her. She does ask me to do some kinky things in the bedroom, but nowhere near as crazy as I saw in her browser history. ETA, she does not have history of sexual abuse. Also, I'm not on here asking for advice. Well, you're gonna get it anyway. So, like you don't have to ask for it. You're gonna get it. Um, so with that being said, um, if this person came into, my office, and they were saying, hey, my girlfriend has some porn history that is very disturbing. One of the things that I would ask is what is disturbing about it? Not the obvious social, is socially disturbing, but what personally is disturbing about it? Um, does anybody want to chime in and kind of go into the caller's queue? Just all you gotta do is press the call button and let me know what they would think if it was them. What would be concerning about the history that was named?
I I would like to know a little more information about these different types of porn.
Okay, so chloroform porn, and this is just an educated guess here, is essentially um, the person is not conscious during the sex. They're,
Oh boy.
they're not conscious. So you imagine you chloroform somebody, right? Within a healthy amount,
Uh-huh.
whatever that would be, whatever that would be, right? And because you want to knock them out, you don't want to kill them, obviously. And and then they're like passed out or whatever, right? And then you start having sex with them while they're passed out, right? And and then we have crying porn, and this is just females just crying during sex, like the whole time during sex they're just crying. It's just what they're doing. Um,
Uh-huh.
and so then we have cream pie in her while she's sleeping. Th- Somebody help me. What's cream pie? Anybody know what Mr. Machismo, do you know what cream pie is?
This is a little awkward to come in on this. I'm like, what is they doing in the other room, man?
What is they doing? I mean, okay, so people on TikTok, I see you watching. Somebody tell me what a cream pie is. What is a cream pie?
That is basically
I
the
mean,
same way you impregnate a lady. That's what a cream pie is.
oh, okay, okay. So a cream pie is just kind of relieving yourself inside of her. Is that that's what it is?
Correctamundo.
All right. So apparently she want like the cream pie while she's sleep porn is essentially no, no, I don't think it's pie cream. I'm talking about sexual cream pie. I'm not talking about like the type that you get at the grocery store. So, with that being said, um, so basically, someone releasing themselves into a woman while she's sleeping is what it seems. Okay, so then we have violent porn, and the violent porn is physical violence toward the woman, like slapping and hitting. And again, I have said this is not uncommon. And so, feel free to weigh in here on TikTok too. Oh, oh no. Oh,
So now I gotta, cause I kind of came in a little late. I was on the six. I guess I was on that other time. So so this is all one person's search history with the
yes.
chloroform and the crying and uh, the sleeping and what was the last, whatever the last one was. That sounds a little
Okay,
like
so
they
the
like to be.
well, I wanted to say that the slapping and the hitting and all that's again that's not uncommon. That's not uncommon. Misty wants to say something, so let's bring Misty on to take the next caller here. Misty.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry. I just set up my app because somebody added me to this group. Thanks, Monicia. Anyway, so I can you all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Misty.
Okay. So I wanted to weigh in a little bit, but I wonder if these um I wonder if she likes this and her and her partner have a type of agreement together. They usually call it CNC, which is consensual non-consent, and whether like he has the ability to do whatever because she's already consented to it.
And that I mean, I appreciate you bringing that to the table, because it sounds like multiple things. It sounds like she could just be curious, like maybe she's heard these terms before, but she's never seen them. There was that big thing with Bill Cosby where he was drugging, or allegedly, I don't know, but the people were asleep essentially.
Right.
And so that's been in social media a lot. What that looks like. And so some of these searches can be out of curiosity, but some of these searches could be because she's actually interested in experiencing these things. Like, what would it be like to have these things happen to me while I'm asleep, or not to be conscious during sex? What would that be like for my partner? How would it feel for me? And so I wonder if you're right. I wonder if she's interested in having that consent to non-consent. um but I also
The
have
other
a
thing is, oh, go ahead.
oh, no, 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 please.
I was going to say the other thing is that I mean, even though so many people are open about sex and what they like and what they don't like, right?
Hmm.
Um, it's still a taboo thing to talk to your friends about. Maybe even your partner. Maybe you're afraid, like maybe she's afraid that that person's not going to be on board with what she likes, and that's why she's searching it up because she wants to look at it, try it, but is afraid to say she wants to try it.
And I think
I
you're
don't
right.
necessarily think it's an addiction to one thing. I don't think it's necessarily an addiction to one thing or another, but there's so much out there on the internet that you can see, right? You get on your phone, you see half naked people all the time. And I think that as a society, we tell people that you keep some things to yourself, like you keep them behind closed doors. Sex is one of them. Having the ability to do other sexual things that may be out of the norm is something that people like to keep under wraps because they don't want other people i.e., their family, their friends, colleagues, whatever, knowing what they're doing. Now, me, I'm all open, and you can ask Monicia, but other people aren't. So
Very open.
shut up, girl. That's why she showed me this room.
No, and the reason why I'm bringing this up again for for anyone that is unaware is because again there are couples, and I'm a marriage and family therapist, just FYI. There are couples that come in and they're not sexually satisfied in the relationship, and they have been shamed into not being able to talk about these things, not being able to be honest about these things and these desires, and for these desires not to be normalized, and then it causes a breakdown in connectivity during sexual intercourse. And so he's finding these things, and he seems a little assumptive in that she might be into these things. She might be, but she also might be curious as to what other people are seeing in these things. So
Maybe she heard it somewhere.
right, if she's heard it, if she has friends that seem to be interested, guy friends, even past um past significant others, oh, maybe she saw it on the television, someone talking about it, or maybe she's just genuinely curious, which I think is okay. But the slapping and the hitting, you would agree that's not that uncommon when it comes to a desire in sexual intercourse. Like there's a whole thing of like dominance and spanking and slapping and hitting and all of that stuff. That it's a whole thing. So that's not really uncommon.
Again, I think it's a personal preference. Some people don't like that. Some do. Some relate it back to childhood trauma. And by the way, I'm an LPC, so that's why I'm saying things you might recognize. But some people relate it back to childhood trauma, or things that happened to them in their life, um, and or just like to give up the control and something like that. But I don't think that's uncommon at all either.
Right, wanting to give up control, I think, is a huge part in that type of sexual experience, and so he sounds like he's really concerned. What advice, as a LPC, what advice would you give someone who came in and was saying that they were really concerned about their significant other's porn history?
Well, I mean, obviously, I came in like really late into this conversation, but I would probably, I would probably have, he would have to have a hard conversation with her to find out what is going on, and whether, some conversations are uncomfortable, and this is one that probably will be, because he doesn't know what the answer is going to be, and he doesn't know. Is she addicted to porn? Is she, does she like these things? Does she want to try these things? Does he like these things? Does he want to try these things? That's something that they have to talk about together, and he's probably going to have to pull the band-aid off and just do it, because he's not going to get any answers that he wants without having that open communication with his partner.
I completely agree. I'm also curious as to what prompted him to search the history. He doesn't
Right.
he doesn't
Is
give
there
any
some level of untrust?
right.
Like, is there something else going on below it? Like, is there some level of untrust because one of them went outside the relationship to another partner? Or does he have a feeling that maybe one of her guy friends is not a friend, in the normal sense of the word, right? So maybe these are the things that he's thinking, and that's why he went to search. Because, I mean, we can probably all agree it's not normal to go searching through your partner's phone unless you think something's up, right? And um, you're looking for something. So
Right.
he maybe was looking for something, and he found something,
Oh, he
right? And he
found it all
wasn't
right.
prepared for what he found.
He,
He wasn't prepared for what he found. So
yes, he was not. He was absolutely not. But if he came into my office, that's definitely an area that I would probe. What prompted the search, and then having that conversation, because there's a lot of assumption right now. And so he's like, I don't know if she's into this or stuff or not, but at one point she also searched emotional abuse. And
Mm-hmm.
so my thing is, emotional abuse, that's not a porn search.
Oh, it's like it's a gray area though, because I mean, and I'm just like, I'm just sitting here looking on the outside looking in. So everything goes back to trauma. And
Mm-hmm.
what if, as a kid, this was like these, if somebody was emotionally abusing her as a kid, what if she had emotionally abusive parents, right? And that's all she's used to. She doesn't know that, I mean, she probably knows that it's not right, but that's how she was conditioned her entire life, right? So maybe that plays into her fantasy a little bit. And by emotional abuse, she's not talking about, you know, in again in the I hate to use the word normal because nothing is normal, but in the
Right.
normal sense of the word, she's not thinking about emotional abuse in that way. She's thinking about emotional abuse during sex, right? Name calling, that goes along with the hitting and the smacking and whatever. Um, maybe that, I mean, because all of these things paint a picture, right? So all of these searches paint a picture and could probably draw us what is happening. So she's probably interested in some of these things, and she's probably searching these other things as they relate to these sexual acts or their sexual history.
I I have a question.
Yes,
So,
ma'am.
Monicia, your question.
how do Monique come on up here? She's very hilarious. This is going to get interesting.
No, where's Monique?
She at the bottom. So listen. So
All,
Girl.
all she has to do
how
is
do you
all she has to do is press the call button, and then it should take her into the queue.
press the call
Oh, she's
button,
gonna have a
girl?
lot to say.
Right.
And they
So let me
Monicia, why
ask.
you invite Monique?
So, Aquila, you said that many people come to your office and they have problems with their significant other when it comes to sexual activities.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in this case, this man is uncomfortable about his girl's browsing history and the things she's partaking in. Now, how would you say someone should confront their partner? Like maybe they can't get it up. Maybe it's too weak or too soft. Maybe she can't get wet. What is it that you? How do you help someone? Because some people can't have conversations without like being offended or hearing what the other person is saying. So, how do you help them identify and share with their partner what advice or tools that you give them?
So, in all honesty, interpersonal effectiveness is going to be really, really important. I statements are going to be very, very important because you don't want to come across as blaming your partner for like why things aren't, I don't know, for lack of a better term, right, in the bedroom. But you do want to get to a point where you're in a more vulnerable state to be able to have these conversations, you know. And so I would definitely go with I statements. I would definitely also go with reflective listening, um, because what I would want to do in that circumstance, and Missy, you can let me know if you agree, is definitely take down defensiveness.
Yeah, but that again, in this type of situation, you hit it right on the head. It's going to be hard to not be defensive about something like this because the other person, like, until you sit and you listen to what the other person is saying, you don't know where they're coming from. So she doesn't know Like, there's a lot of angles here that could tick her off, right? Why was he going through her phone? Why does he care what she's looking at? Why was he looking at her search history? Why is he bringing this to the table right now? And is he judging me? Is he thinking different about me? Because of these sexual desires, if that is what they are, or sexual curiosities.
Absolutely. And that is why gentle startups essentially are ideal in these types of situations, because it gives us the opportunity to talk about it from a perspective of, this is how I'm feeling. But I think that you're absolutely right. Like, there is, there could definitely be questions as it relates to. And just to clarify, for anyone who's just recently joined, this individual was sharing an iPad with his significant other, or whatnot, and because they were sharing an iPad, he had access to the search history. It doesn't say why he decided to look into the search history, but he recently did, and he noticed that his girlfriend was watching porn while he was at work. Okay, and so and then he kind of got into what type of porn that she was watching. And he states really early on that from his perspective, they have a healthy sex life. He doesn't think that she has any type of porn addiction. He also says here that, to his knowledge, she was never sexually abused. Um, and so I want to make sure that, for anyone that's just recently joined, you guys have that information. So there might be a little less defensiveness about, him having access to the history. Still kind of a question as to why he was searching it, and however far he went down the rabbit hole. And so it is going to be a hard conversation. 150%. It's going to be a hard conversation. Mo, what do you got for us? Not Monicia, Monique. What do you got for us?
Mo!
Hey everybody. That's interesting. Um, I guess it's a lot of factors that I would have to see into play when it comes to this person searching her history. What did he was he searching it intentionally? Um, um, and it goes to trust. Like, I mean, do he trust her? Because why was he searching her history in the first place? So, was he just actually looking for something? So I maybe I see a little bit more, and then maybe when he came across the porn or whatever, he might have got some insecurities, because there's a lot of women and a lot of men that are insecure about their partner, and if their partner being pleased or pleasured, or what have you. So it's just a lot of different aspects that you can look at this. So it's not just a broad conversation, but it's a range of things that could take or could be taking place or could be in someone's thought process and so forth.
So we did, and thank you for that, Monique. We did talk about trust. It definitely was intentional that he looked through the search history. However, it is a shared laptop, if that helps. So I don't know. I guess they share a search history. It seems. Nevertheless, I think some of the things that he said was concerning was that she was looking into forced sex. She was looking into abduction. She was looking into being degraded. She was looking into like barely legal type of sexual porn, even chloroform type porn, crying porn where women are crying during sex the whole time, and other forms of violence and things like that. So
So I'm thinking maybe
even
she's
though he says that
curious
they have
about
a
a lot of it.
hmm,
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm saying like maybe I'm thinking like maybe it's a lot of curiosity. Like I'm
that's
curious
what I
about
said.
sex. and I'm a reverend, so I'm not perfect. I make so many mistakes. I'm still making mistakes. I'm such a sinner because I like sex. That's my weakness, and my pastor knows that. So you sometimes you're curious about things, and sometimes you don't want to tell your partner you want to see somebody slap somebody, because what if he not the person that want to choke you during sex, or what if he don't want to perform oral sex? Then it's going to be very hard for her to come to him like, hey babe, or whatever. So she might just want to look at it and see, okay, what is this about? Like, ooh, what are they doing? And it might be something that she absolutely do not want to do, but just heard of it and just looking it up. So again, it's so many different
And I said the same
aspects
thing,
of it.
Monique. I said the same thing.
Now, now here's what I'm thinking. Now, hearing this, that it's a, because I didn't have that information before, that it's a shared laptop or tablet or whatever. I, I'm thinking she's not embarrassed about it. I'm thinking she trusts him and his non-judgment of her because she knows he can see it. And she's not clearing it out. She's not clearing out the history or the cookies. She knows he could see it, so she feels comfortable enough and secure enough in their relationship for him to be able to see it and not judge her.
And it's
Maybe
like,
she trying to throw a hint to him. Let's do
that's
something
it.
different. Give me a
I
little
mean,
skirt and a bow tie or something.
yeah, afraid to say something, like afraid to say it.
And I, I
She
mean, and I think curiosity is a really big factor, right? Because it's like, I know individuals who have looked up gay porn, not because they're homosexual, because they're just curious about what's happening, you know. So like, there is a lot of curiosity that that happens where people are like, you hear about things and you're like, well, what does that look like? Well, what does that sound like? Well, what it, and I had even brought up the case of Cosby, where like that whole chloroform, not being conscious during sex, type stuff was brought up socially a lot, and people, some people were like, well, what could someone get out of that? Being the person having sex with the person that's unconscious, and so I'm sure a lot of people might have started looking up that type of porn during that time, just to see like what's happening, and what is that person getting out of that. And so I really agree with the aspect that it could be curiosity driven. I also like what you brought into the conversation, Misty, when you said some of that could be trauma driven, where you have a draw to something sexually and you don't realize that it is a part of your trauma that's coming out.
Right.
And so you're like, you don't know why you're turned on by these things or why you're curious about these things, but you are, and it's part of working out or fleshing out your trauma. But
Well, and that's
Dante,
the funny thing. Some people don't realize that they suffer trauma because it's normalized for them, right? So,
absolutely.
from studies, we know that when kids grow up in chaos, they have chaotic adult lives, right? So everything is chaotic to them. So the same thing could be, said about childhood trauma or adolescent trauma, is that if you carry it into adulthood, then you may have normalized it to the point where you don't see a problem with it, and that's how we get generational abuse and all of that good stuff.
I'm with you. I'm with you there. And one thing I also hear a lot of is like, you can't, like, there's some individuals who will go through rounds of therapy, right? They'll have different therapists or whatnot, and so they might be aware of their attachment pattern, and they might be aware of some of that trauma, or even some triggers there, and so they're actively in a relationship that's outside of that trauma and trigger. And so what you'll find is they'll get in this space where they're like, I'm not satisfied, I'm bored, because they're not getting that chaos that's been normalized for them for so long. They don't know how to sit in calm. I mean, in all honesty. And so some of that search history could have something to do with maybe either trauma or even past relationships where some of these things were going on, along with curiosity. But if he has an issue with it, I think all three of us, or all four of us even, are saying that's a conversation that needs to be had. Dante, Mr. Machismo, you have stayed quiet long enough. You are the only male on this call. Please speak to us.
Well, y'all said it all. I think, yeah, it's. I don't. I didn't hear nothing grotesque or nothing, but I do agree with everybody that this is a preference and it's based on past precedents, whether it be trauma, whether it be stuff that she had did before. This is something she most likely is into, and the issue for old buddy is he ain't really into it. So that's something that they need to have a courageous discussion about, and just see where everything comes out on. But yeah, and that's why I think it's important to kind of have an understanding of your partner. When y'all learning each other, that's something that is very underrated. When it's done properly, and you're not rushed into it, and you get an ideal of like, oh, okay, this person is into this. I'm into this. Y'all kind of share your ideals about that part of life, and you find out if you're a mate, if you're a match. Because sometimes somebody could be too prudy, while some people would be a little too wild. That might not be a good match. But I don't hear nothing too crazy. Maybe the chloroform a little crazy. That might have a little. It might be a long term. You might have a headache. I can't see that turning out good the next day. like if something gonna happen. If something you gonna have a stomach ache. I don't know. That's all because that's some chemicals or something. But obviously, you know, it sounds like she wants to be the one that is. I might be wrong. It sounds like she's the one that wants to be chloroformed. She wants to be choked. She wants to be crying. She wants to be dominated. And that, in a way, that's kind of I guess, what I mentioned many, many moons ago about, us men being the aggressors. So that kind of fits our job title in a lot of ways, if you will. But everybody don't everybody don't work in that part of the company. I guess I don't I don't know as far as men, but yeah, that's something that is part of your job title. You should have that under your belt if need be, if requested. But that's my spin on it. But overall, yeah, that is. I don't hear nothing too crazy. Chloroform, it's just the chloroform, and then what? The crying chlor. Let me make sure I'm not forgetting nothing. Crying chloroform and some else. Hold on, some was a little weird.
So there
The
was
slap,
the slapping, the
the
crying.
the slaps ain't every in moderation. I'll say in moderation. You don't want to slap them like somebody done stole your wallet, and you just want to smack them just on some. You done did something like that. I'm gonna smack you. I ain't gonna punch you. I'm gonna smack you. It's a different level. You done been disrespectful. I'm gonna be disrespectful. You don't want to do it like a stranger on the street, but you want to show some firmness. Just a little force, which sounds like the person is the gentleman's mate is into that. So might be something that he might find out he might like. You don't know till you try. You never know. But that so what I missed. So we got the smacking, the chloroform, which I'm gonna cut that off. Yeah, no chloroform now. We trying to make it now.
The
We
the
trying to
bare
live to 70.
the barely legal.
Oh, whoa, see, I ain't hear that one. Wait a minute. Hold on. Pause. Say what? Say how, say what?
She likes looking at the porn where the girls look like children.
Oh, she was something happened around that age. I'm a, if I was to put a wager on that, I'm gonna go plus 500, well, excuse me, negative 250. Oh, she has some sort of molestation issues or something going on as a child, unfortunately. Cause yeah, that's a little creepy. That's gonna be a no for me. That's gonna be a hard no. Or maybe did I say it or easy no? I don't know. I don't say.
You
I
I,
don't
you
think
was
that's
you
that's
said
not one of
hard
my.
no. You was
I
saying
was, I had it right. Okay.
um
I ain't want to go too. All right. And then what else? Is that it? I think that's.
yeah. I mean that's about it. But I wanted to here's a comment. Someone commented on this post. They said, personally, this is a female. They said, personally, I'm into a lot of the same stuff, and I am a woman. I have a history of sexual abuse, multiple times, people throughout my life, and it took me a long time to come to terms with and accept that these are my kinks now and some others I have. Therapy helped me realize that this is a normal thing for many survivors of sexual abuse, a way to take control over the trauma in a safe environment with someone you can trust. Many people assume the dominant person is the one in charge, and they would be correct. But they also assume that being in charge means that they have all the power, which is incorrect. During prosper during proper play with trustworthy partners, boundaries are set and limits are drawn beforehand. During play, the dominant person is supposed to stay within those guidelines, but the subordinate person is the one who can make everything stop at any time throughout, regardless of what the dominant person wants. So, in simple terms, the subordinate person is typically the one that is in control during those circumstances. So this goes right back to what Misty was saying as it related to the sexual abuse. Monique, did you want to say something? I keep seeing your circle lighting up, but then you're not saying nothing.
I'm probably like agreeing, like, oh yeah, no, no, I'm.
Say something juicy, Mo. Say something juicy. Get this juicy.
I want to. I got Bible study, so I'm already ready. I'm trying to be a sanctified lady in a minute, but I might say something juicy before I get off. I'm gonna get off about 7 so I can make Bible study.
So we
Okay.
got pastors, therapists, counselors, in the mix, which is very interesting. It's a very interesting mix, But it shows that beneath everything, we're human, and
Right.
and I think that that's most important is understanding our humanity, and these types of topics kind of throw us in there and throws us in there. And so someone commented and said, you know, they said, what I find appealing to watch and what I find appealing to experience have almost no overlap. I know it works that way for many people. Okay. And so that also came across what we were talking about, how, I might be curious about this. I might even be attracted. Yes, I said we are human. Did it sound like I said something else? Yeah, I said we're all human. and and this is how human I'm getting a text message. That's what I'm responding to. And so you know, someone else said that it's hard to speak on this other individual's history if we haven't seen or heard of your history, which in all honesty, it's like, okay, you know, if he watches porn, he also has a history, But I think that he sounds more concerned than judgmental. He sounds like he's concerned about what she's watching, and why she's watching it. What would you say, Dante, if this was your girlfriend, and I'm asking you because you're again the male here. If this was your girlfriend, what would that conversation sound like? You just found this. You've been dating them for 14 years. 14 years you guys been together. You
For
were
14. Oh
unaware.
my goodness.
Yeah, 14 years you guys have been together. You were unaware of this history up until this point because apparently you used to have a different computer. Your computer broke or something like that. So y'all have been sharing her computer, and now you're privy to her search history. And so you found this information. You're kind of, looking into what's going on here, and now you want to have a conversation with your significant other. What is it that you say to her? How is it you go about
So
it?
I find the exact. So in theory, the exact same searches.
Yeah, you find, yeah, these searches, these ones,
Okay,
chloroform,
that would be
emotional abuse.
okay. The thing with that is that would be literally impossible because there's no way that I am not gonna be in tune enough to know. I would have found all this stuff out year one. Make when it's right off the jump ball almost. I'm not. I don't, I'm not. I'm gonna know way before. There's no way, especially not 14. That's unfathomable. Like I don't even know how that's even possible. Like what?
These could be
What?
new interests. These could be new interests, or they could have had separate computers for a long time and trust each other and don't check each other's search history. There's a lot of ways where this could have been missed. However,
Oh,
he sees it
I,
now. What do you say? And this is
I
someone he
can't.
loves.
I can't. It's hard to answer that because I can't see me not seeing this before. It's all. I just do not think it's even possible. Just the way that I approach things. I'm very in tune with the person that I'm gonna know. Like it's just not gonna be like, oh, I like this fella. No, there's no. I just happen to run into this. No, that's like impossible. And of course, I'm speaking from limited range where my longest shindig was 7 years. And to be honest, ain't nothing changed. It just got more intense on that level. But I was in tune with things that they didn't even know about themselves because that's just. I mean, that might be just my personality type. I can't really speak for everybody else for as far as other men, but there is a very I don't even know if it's 0.0001%. Like I don't even have a number for that to say that this would be possible for me to be unaware of. Because this isn't something that's like strange. This isn't this some and it be I don't want to even say too much, but this probably would have happened already. Some of this
Oh
stuff,
my God.
like it just there's no way.
I just gotta keep it a whole buck. I'm a whole freak and I like nasty stuff, all kind of crap. So and I like to ask a whole lot of questions about sex.
Monique.
I could have been a sex therapist and I'm gonna tell my mate like what I like, what I want, and we gonna have a discussion about it. So ain't no way in the world that I'm gonna be having no secret. You ain't gonna see nothing in my search because I am the search. Because I'm telling you, everything I like, all the
I
freaky things
am
I
the
want to do.
search.
So and I'm gonna ask
Monique.
him. I'm gonna ask him too, like, babe, what you like? You like what? You like your balls lick? You like the what? You like the tip circle? Like what you want to do? I'm that person, so I can't. I don't want no secrets because I'm a real intimate person. So when I'm making love to you, I'm making love and I'm giving you my all because I want to be pleased and I want you to be pleased just as much. And I want to know what you do. Now, if you like a finger in that butt, I ain't doing that. But
Oh
run in that.
Oh, fly
Yeah,
away.
I'm fly away at that point. I'm a fly away and be gone because that mean if you like something in your butt, then that's a problem with me.
What?
But
The,
and I don't hold nothing back. Yeah.
we don't
Oh
cross
my,
the line.
oh my God.
But
Monique.
hey, hey,
We
Aquila,
don't.
imagine
We don't.
working. Imagine, okay, so I worked with both of them for years, right? Imagine sitting next to her across from each other at work for
oh,
3
we had
years.
so much fun. Oh my
Listen,
God.
Oh my God. You
listen.
guys, you guys are nuts.
But it's the whole truth. I'm not gonna sit here and tell nobody no lie. I can't lie in front of God, so I'm not gonna lie in front of y'all or anybody. Because the truth is the truth. And if you a person and you having sex and you want to be pleased, because you can have sex and lay there and not feel nothing and not be comfortable, and it is what it is. And it's so many women that I know that have sex and be like, oh, I hate having sex with him because it's just it's boring. I don't like it. I don't feel nothing. So what's the purpose of sitting there and laying? You need to be pleased, and God made it to be enjoyable. I mean, as a union, but that's a whole nother thing. I told you I'm a work in progress. So, but when you're doing it, it's supposed to be something pleasurable. So that means I need to know about you and your body, what you like, expectations, and I need you to know about mine. Because if you don't know about it, I'm gonna tell you, no, this ain't right. I need you to do it this way. You need to do that. I like this. Yeah, is that's just how it is. So for me to be searching and this is, it's sad that somebody have to, search things and not have these conversations with their partner if they feel uncomfortable because a partner may feel that they are going to judge them. Because a lot of people don't like to be judged about what they may like that their partner may not be into, and that's just unfortunate. But I don't want to have a partner that I can't be a whole hundred with, because then
Come on.
at the end of the day, it's going to be like I'm wasting my time. If I can't trust you and give you all of me, then I know you're not giving me all of you. So why are we even in this? So that's just one of my things.
But
Well, Monique, we know that you're being honest right now. Believe
I'm
me,
always honest.
she is being so honest right now.
I'm always honest.
but I
Girl,
wish
now Akila,
I wish
all three
more
of us worked
people
together at
I wish more people were this sexually empowered. You
Yeah.
know, Monique, like I really appreciate you saying, because this is what it gets down to. I'm comfortable in my own skin. I'm comfortable with
Yep.
what I like. I know that it is okay for me to like what I like and want what I want. And if I'm going to have this experience with you, I'm going to be open. I'm going to be vulnerable. I'm going to let you know. I'm going to be vocal, because, like you said, it's not meant to be an unpleasurable experience. It's not meant to be a chore. It's meant to be something that both individuals can enjoy. And if more people could come out of their shells and talk about it the way that you do, there would be so many more couples that are satisfied with their sex life.
Yes, Aquila, baby. Yes, honey. Yes. Look,
I'll tell you,
I counsel
I'll tell
people.
you,
Uh,
Monique and Monicia. I was never open. Really, I've known them for a long time. I was never really open, about stuff like that. And then I don't know. I had this transition in January where all of a sudden, like my hoe phase came out, and I was just all over
mhm.
it.
Basically, me, she was a whole freak, and she's proud about it, and she should be, because if that she enjoys what she enjoys, and she shouldn't have to hide that from nobody, because it's her own personal preferences. So that's a good thing for her. To be comfortable, like you just said, Aquila, in your body, and to be comfortable as a person. When I counsel people and when I do premarital counseling, one of the things that we discuss is sex, because it's part of it. It's part of that foundation. It's part of whether they had it already or are they really going to wait. And what are you going to do if it's not pleasurable for you after, if you have not had it together? So what can you do to make sure that if it's not pleasurable, what can we do? What kind of ideas can we come up with? Because you married for love, not for sex, but sex is very important, period, in any relationship. So it's one of those things that people do need to talk more about and to be more honest about. Okay, y'all, I'm gonna listen to what you gotta say, and then I gotta go to Bible study. I'm sorry.
So this is what I love about being around authentic people. Like when you talk about her being honest, and many people can't take simple conversation. You can tell them the truth about something simple. It doesn't even have to be about sex. It could be just something about a behavior or an attitude, and then it's like, oh my god, you're very blunt and you're very this. why can't we tell the truth? Why we can't have a conversation? Why can't I communicate with you that you are a jerk? Like, I'm not, it is what it is. I don't understand it. And then you come across people, they're so mad or so angry about little stuff. It just bothers my whole soul. Why can't we have a why can't we communicate? Why can't you explain to me when I ask you a question what your feelings are? Why
100%.
why
Mo, before I
we
let you,
grown?
Monique, before I let you go, because I know you have Bible study. Before I let you go, this which is a very interesting whole sentence to put together. I, I really would love to know when you got to a point where you were able to be this open and vulnerable, and what it took for you, because I really want to open the door for more people to have what you have.
I have been this way my entire life. I have not been a sexual person because I didn't have sex until I was 18. I wish I would have waited, period, until I was married, but it didn't happen like that for me. But I've always been open and an honest person. So that's just who I am and it's in me. But what I do when I'm around people is I allow them to be comfortable. So I give people my truth so that they also open up so that they can feel comfortable having a conversation, whether it's sex or whether it's just about their boyfriend or about their girlfriend, can't cook or something that's uncomfortable for them to talk about. So like I said, one of the things I could say is just, you share your truth with somebody and then they share it back with you.
Well, that's amazing, and I hope that you join us again, Monique, because I
I'm
really
coming.
appreciate it.
Yes, baby. I will be. I will come every Thursday if y'all do Thursday, and I'll stay till 7 because Bible study is at 6:30, and it's on Zoom. And since I am one of the reverends at the church, I'm supposed to be there. But this was so good, so good. And I just want to thank everybody. Thank you for having me on. This was amazing. I'm looking forward to the next one and just to listen and hear as well.
Awesome. Thank you so
See you,
much.
Mo.
Thank you.
Love you.
Love you guys. Mwah. Love you too, Momo.
Bye.
Bye.
So, with that being said, I don't know, Michael, are you there? I know you there. I mean, at least your face is there. I don't know if you're actually there. Okay. All right. Misty, I'm going to make you a speaker because I want Michael to come on. Michael, don't make me have to boot you off. I'm gonna invite you to speak. Um, all right, so I'm gonna invite you to speak, Miss Misty, and then I'm gonna put him up as the next caller. Okay, there we go. All right. Oh no. Okay. Put her again. What's going on with that? Okay. So, Michael, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. So, we're touching on what some would say is a very sensitive topic. We got booted off of TikTok because I said cream pie. Um, so,
My
tis life,
Tis
what I'm
life,
saying?
you know.
I wanted to know what a cream pie was, and apparently you're not allowed to ask that on TikTok. But we'll see how that goes in the future. Nevertheless, Michael, you and I, just throwing this out there, neither one of us were virgins, when we decided to start dating. You had actually been married previous, and I had 2 children previous to our union. Um, where's I going with this? Okay, so we had other experiences, but we had decided not to be with each other until after we were married. Um, do talk to me about your feelings around whether or not you think that was the best idea. not from a biblical standpoint, but just from a sexual experience standpoint.
Yes, very interesting question. Um, well, I think that um, we live in a generation and a culture where a lot more things are open, a lot more things are acceptable. And I mean, in my opinion, not all of it is good, but not all of it is bad. Now, I think that because of the time that we live in, and because of a lot of the immersion that's in our culture, um, it's a very interesting time to for myself being a Christian and believing in saving oneself before marriage,
Holy
but
moly.
then also going into a relationship where your partner or your spouse might not have the same viewpoints or might not have had the same experiences as you. I think that it can be very challenging.
So was that a yes or a no?
And the question again,
You don't remember
you
the
said was
question?
well, you brought up the topic, but you got to fill in the question. What was the question?
I cannot. Okay. So see, there's that, there's. So anyway, the question was not from a biblical standpoint. Again, right? Do you think it was the best idea from an experiential standpoint to have waited until after our marriage to have begin sexual relations?
Waiting on anything with you, baby, was excellent.
Goodbye. I'm so out of here. I can't. I cannot. This is why I don't bring you on.
Hey, hey, it was worth the wait. Shoot, I
I
waited
can't
35 years.
take
30,
you.
no, 30. I waited 30 years.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Okay. Well, all right. So I'm going to put you in the hot seat, and I'm going to ask you if you were with someone for 14 years, not me, just someone, and you found the this particular search history. Um, what would be your method of conversation?
Have to be a conversation. My first question would be, you know, um, you know, I think one of the things that as I was listening that was interesting was that she was sharing the tablet, and everybody knows there's cookies. Everybody knows there's search history. You know, I believe that if she left it on there and she didn't make any attempt to conceal it, she might have been wanting him to find it, or even if she, there might even been a subconscious part of her that wanted him to discover some things that she may have been inquiring about. So that would be my first point, is that I think that it's interesting that he found the things that she was searching. He found the search history. Clearly wasn't hiding it. So but I think that my approach would have been to have a conversation, definitely have a conversation. And because there were some things in there that were concerning, as far as, you know, uh, uh, just like Misty had pointed out, some evidence of trauma there, I think it definitely would have bared a conversation between myself and this individual.
Well, I knew that already. I said, what would the conversation be?
Okay. Well, um, I think the conversation would start out with I would need to find out, you know, when this started, I would first ask, when did this start? You know, what are you thinking? And I think it would be also an important question would be, what have you been feeling? What are you feeling? What are your emotions around this? You know, um, I guess as a good husband, I might say, how can I help you? With what you're going through. First of all, what are you going through? How can I help? How can I meet you where you are?
Crickets. No, I appreciate your response. I don't know how it would actually pan out if it was my search history. It was been like what in the you'll be trying to drag me to the breakout center, but what and deliver me from from
I mean, listen, I might need to pray for you, you know.
you might need to
Hey,
pray for me.
and then I'm into some experiential exploration of some of those things. It's like a few.
I'm gonna take you off the spotlight, though.
Yeah, I'm covering
You
my
put me on the
ears.
spot.
Yeah, I'm gonna take you.
Ew.
I'm gonna take you off the spotlight. Because you like a dad for some of these people, and they don't want to hear that. But
I'm covering my ears up.
she
Ew.
was like, but
No,
but in all honesty, I brought you on because what the other Mo was saying, right, is really important, and I honestly don't think that you or I have ever been that comfortable expressing ourselves. And I think that there's a lot of relationships where people are not that comfortable expressing themselves, where they're like, hey, this is what I want, this is how, this is where, this is when, this is again how, nope, that's not, and I think that there can be so much anxiety and defensiveness wrapped into having those conversations that even as a married couple, it can get to a point where you just don't want to rock the boat, or you feel stifled, or you don't want. Now it's one thing to have a one night stand with someone, and I'm not speaking from experience, but I'm throwing it out there. It's one thing to have a one night stand with someone that you're never going to see again and tell them all this stuff about what you want and how you want it, and this, that, and the third. But it's another thing to have to tell somebody that and then wake up and have breakfast with them, and like they are there, like you don't get to walk away from those things. They're right there, but you would hope that would open up your partner to also be that vulnerable. So you guys are, having breakfast, eating together, looking at each other like, wow, But at the end of the day, a marriage, is a long-term relationship. You don't just get to walk away from that person never having, to see them again. How they feel about you, whether or not they have judged you, whatever that stays in the relationship, and that can be rough.
It's true. This is true.
All right, Mr. Machismo, talk to me.
Well, yeah, I think I'm gonna be a little bit more outgoing, where I'm gonna know and be privy to as much as I humanly possibly can, because the more information, the more I can know about my partner. That's just good business on a relationship end. Like it's a no brainer for me and just my approach. But yeah, I don't know how I still am tripping that this took 14 years to come out. Any type of like unknowing about what the other party likes. Like that's different.
But I
That's
think
a
that
little different.
I think that it's also important, Mr. Machismo, to understand too that maybe when we first got together, those weren't things that I was thinking about or into. And, and then as time went on, I, gained curiosities, or maybe I'm hanging around a different group of friends. Maybe I'm watching different television. Maybe, I'm in a different crowd, whatever the case may be, and now, these searches are coming up or these curiosity, evolved. Maybe I've evolved. Thank you, Carnal. And so now I have new interests, but I want to actually see if I like these things before I bring them to you. It doesn't mean that they met 14 years ago and they just been having bad sex this whole time. This stuff could be new. If that was the case, how would you address it?
Yeah, I wouldn't have found out via Google search. I would have knew way before that. I would have noticed. That's just that's just my personality. I can't speak for everybody else, but there's very little chance that it's gonna come out in that manner in
Okay,
the
so
Google
Mr.
search.
Machismo, if she didn't tell you,
She ain't gonna have to. She ain't gonna have to.
what you psychic?
No, I'ma just
He
know.
knows. He knows.
Oh, I'm nosy for
I know
one.
you know.
I'm
Oh,
nosy for one, and then for two, I mean, when you with
he
somebody,
said I'm
when you
nosy,
when
nosy.
you arouse somebody enough, you just gonna notice certain quirks. You just gonna notice certain things about them because you just are aware. You are aware of yourself. You're aware of everything in your orbit. So it's not gonna be a situation where something really catch you off guard or by surprise too much. You look forward to that actually. Like,
Colonel
let me get something.
Colonel said BS, ladies be lying.
I mean, I don't even know what to tell you. You are right. They do be lying, but
I mean,
that's
everybody be
cool.
lying,
Everything come to
Everybody
the
be lying.
forefront eventually.
But my thing is, some of these things, it's like, how would you know? Like, tell me you got to tell me what thing would your girl be doing in real time that would make you know that she interested in crying during sex? Like, you tell me what would that thing be? Where you be like, I know what you want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, what would she be doing to give that off? Help me out.
I
Help
mean,
me understand that.
each person is different because it's different personality types. But one in my the one homie who found the girls the one dead giveaway is she's a little bit more submissive, which is kind of like a natural thing, but like that's some women are just a little bit more than the normal. So that would be one tale, for lack of a better term. But it's a plethora of different things that could tell you that. It's just about knowing KYP, knowing your personnel, knowing the people that you are involved with. It's just you study these people. It's not somebody you just acquaintance with. It's not somebody you just you do you go to the same gym. Like, these people like as much as you possibly can. Of course, it's always going to be some time or some things that they just keep to themselves because that's a little bit of a boundary. But overall, like, that's you supposed to study your partner. But that's just I can't speak for everybody else.
So you still haven't really said like what specific action she would do like in regular life, not in during downtime. I'm just gonna call it downtime. But like what she would be doing in regular life to let you know that during intercourse she just wants to cry a lot.
I mean, she may cry during the day. Like, I mean, there's gonna be signs. There's gonna be emotional things that are triggered. It's not something that just falls out the sky and just happens like that. Especially something as Like I don't know a lot. They could be good actors. I don't know a lot of people that could just cry on cue. Maybe y'all do. I don't know. I might be a little sheltered, but something like that. You just you'll be you'll know. I can't speak to the exact. I can't give you the carbon copy of what it will be for you. But if you're paying attention enough, you'll know some stuff.
So, Carno said, I don't think y'all ready for honesty. To be real with y'all, ladies want to be told what they want to hear, and they ain't hearing what they don't want to hear. I mean, that's anybody, right? I mean, who don't want to hear what they don't want to hear, and who want to, who don't want to hear what they want to hear. I mean, that's not gender based. That's everybody. That's that. I haven't met nobody who just wants to hear a whole bunch of stuff they don't want to hear. you know. And the reason why I'm bringing light to that is because of the fact that even in having this conversation, when it comes to sexual things, sometimes, especially with males, and this is with females too. I don't want to just say with males only. Your identity is wrapped up in whether or not you're good at the act of intercourse. Like your whole situation, like I mean your whole vibe is just there's a part of your identity that is just attached to that. And so anybody who's saying, hey, can you move to the right instead of moving to the left, it's like a big deal. Well, I was with the last girl. I was moving to the right. They ain't have a problem with that. It's like it's this defensiveness. What you trying to say? What you like? And it's like, no, I just want to have a conversation. Move to the right. But it becomes so much bigger because people don't want to hear what they don't want to hear.
And now let me cut you off because this is, I guess, let me give it a little bit more detail as to because I feel like I'm in left field alone, but I I,
When
I
I'm
believe that
talking
like
about Carnal, what Carnal said.
I'm over here
See, look at
multitasking,
you.
but
See,
yeah.
yeah. No, I was talking about Carnal was saying that people don't want to hear what they don't want to hear, and they only want to hear what they do want to hear. And so I was saying that based off of that, which he also clarified as selective listening, that even with males, and females, when it comes to sex, there is that barrier. There is that part of I'm gonna shut down what I don't want to hear, and all I really want to hear is I'm great at sex. I'm the best that you've ever had. I run this. No one's better than me. And anything that's not that, I don't want to hear it. And
Oh,
so if I'm hearing it, now I got a problem. Now I'm trying to find ways to deflect, or I want to blame you, or I want to make myself feel better by bringing up past partners. You know what I'm saying? Like these are things that couples run into. I mean, I had one couple, and the male had a smaller um, unit, and and you know what I'm saying, and and the woman was cool with the fact that he had a smaller unit. But like she couldn't even like talk to him about maybe changing positions to maximize the size of the unit, because it was all about that male vibrato. Well, no, I'm gonna do it like this, and no, this is, it was all defensiveness. And it's like, and I'm sure that happens with females too, because again, it comes back to insecurity. But it's like at the end of the day, can we have the conversation? And I think, Dante, what I hear you saying, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is I'm gonna know because I'm willing to have the conversation.
That is one that is so important because I mean let's keep it all the way funky. If you are a man and you with your woman, your wife, you love her. If you love this woman, you want every part of her life to be at its highest level possible, which that includes what we're talking about. So you gonna get in tune with the innate things within her to get her happy, for lack of a better term. Where in a way, if you're especially I don't because I can only speak from a male point of view or a husband point of view. If you a husband to a woman, in a way you would get pleasure from giving pleasure, because in a way any other way is kind of absurd. Like that's just like crazy. But that's the whole thing. Like I don't know if everybody looks at it like that. I don't know if everybody understands. Like it's a role you play as a man that just is a little different than a woman.
I don't want to get drawn into that too much just because I know that I would. But why is it different? I mean, I'm sure women want to give pleasure just as much as men want to give pleasure.
Oh, because we a little bit easier. Like it's kind of just easier. Like it just is what it is. Like men are just gotta be. The majority of us are a little simpler, little less layers, little easier to make happy. You know.
It's
It's-
I want to say what add to what he said. It's not always about physical though. Um, it can be all good physically, but he can be lacking emotionally and mentally, which affects women physically.
Oh, we going too broad now. We was talking about one subject.
No, that plays a
I
part
didn't
of
know if we
being
was talking about
pleased.
a whole race, but I did at the beginning of my tangent mention that we want every aspect of your life to be on a high level. So that speaks to that. But yeah, you have a good point as well. Yeah, because I'm gonna speak. You because you kind of throwing it off. I get it though. You had to say it. It just felt like, ooh, if I don't say that, because I feel like that sometimes. But yeah, of course you don't. Of course, the other part got to be good. You got to be able to have a conversation. Y'all got to be eating good. The house got to be clean. Kids got to be taken care of. All that stuff. Because ain't nobody even trying to do none of that other stuff, and all that stuff ain't right. Like that kind of just hides the elephant in the room, which is y'all ain't living right. The house dirty, the car dirty, just whatever it is off. You can't mask it with that. Trust me. For many years I tried with a partner. Many, but that was years ago. So it's something you learn from. That ain't the end all be all. But that's gonna be a magnificent enhancer to the relationship, the marriage, all of that. Pokemon. Well, I was like, what? Leather seats, Pokemon. Oh, God.
Um, but what Brady was saying is that Brady is very interestingly knows everybody, it seems, and so he's also aware of the relationship that Cardinal has has talked about in past episodes as it relates to his ex spouse and kind of some feelings that he has towards that. Mo had brought up that he is consistently talking down, on women and things like that, which goes back to wound people, hurt people, um, and so there's that. But I'm not going to move too far off the topic. I do want to say that I appreciate everybody who joined. Please subscribe. Please come back. I'm here on Thursdays at 6 o'clock ish. If you don't see me at 6, just wait. I'll be here. Um, and so I thank Misty. I thank Monicia. I thank Mo. I thank Mr. Machismo, also known as Dante. I thank Michael. I thank everybody who Brady, Carnal. I even thank Chardell, who did not answer my question, which was, did you learn that soup like we talked about? You know, don't come on the show judging and then you didn't learn your soup. Now, you're supposed to be learning your soup recipe. So if you listen back on this, go to the comments and listen and look at when I asked you, did you learn the soup? Because in life there's going to be other things that are going on around you, sir, and you got to focus on what your assignment is, okay? And that speaks, that ministers. And so your assignment was to learn the soup. Now, you came in talking about this show took a left turn and you didn't know what was going on and all this other stuff, but what you need to focus on is learning the soup. So the next time you come in here, I want to hear whether or not you learned the soup, if you made the soup for your parents, and how it turned out. That's what I want to hear from you. So when you listen back to this, remember, there's going to be a lot of chaos around you. Focus on your assignment, okay? Because when you come in the middle of something, you don't always know what everybody else's assignment was before you got there. So before we start judging, just focus in on your assignment. Focus in on your assignment, and it'll all be good. So with that being said, I thank all of you so much for coming on. I thank you so much for your support. I'm going to try to see if we can get back on TikTok. Apparently, don't say cream pie anymore, anybody. He got kicked off. But sex is a topic that needs to happen, and banning talking about sex on TikTok when you literally allow people to get on and shake their rear end, and do all of these other different things that imply sexual content. I don't know how that's helpful. Nevertheless, I am on TikTok normally, also Facebook Live, also YouTube, and you can normally catch the replay on Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify Podcasts. You can also come on here and catch the replay. Please subscribe, and it was nice talking to all of you all today. Thank you so much for your time and your input. Y'all have a good evening.